Good morning, everybody. This is Sunday morning, day 36. We're camped at about mile 478.3 at the Green Valley fire station, which is this collection of buildings behind me. It's a Forest Service fire station. Yeah, it was pretty wet yesterday, very wet in fact, and everything pretty much is drenched, clothes-wise and gear-wise. A lot of condensation in the tents last night because of all the wet gear and things like that. Everyone's in the same boat down here. I'll just show you. So there's a couple of people camped there, and then just behind this kind of like truck here and all this bit, that's like the main camping area. Pink Panther's down there with Brie and Elle, the Aussies, I think. Caught up to them. I'm all packed up, but Centipede isn't. It's been a slow morning this morning. My feet are freezing cold because my shoes are soaking wet through. I do have dry socks on, which is one bonus. But it looks like we're going to be going up there shortly into the sunshine. Obviously you can tell if you watched yesterday's video, today's weather is a huge improvement. It's still quite cool in the shade, but once we get into that sunshine, it's going to be nice. I've got all of my wet gear pretty much dry, well, hung out to dry, hopefully on the back of my backpack. So fingers crossed that'll get dried throughout the day, and then at lunchtime we'll stop and dry the tents out, because my tent in particular, well, both tents are pretty drenched. My tent has the DCF body, but it's got a sill, I think it's a sill nylon, I can never remember, it's sill nylon or sill poly floor, and that seems to get pretty wet. I'm not using a ground sheet, which I should be, but you also get, like, when it's damp, you get all this kind of like dust and grit, like this sort of stuff sticking to the bottom of your tent, and it's not very good for it. So I should really be using a ground sheet, but at the moment I haven't got one. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I've got filled up on water. It's quite a dry stretch again, this one. Some water sources on it, but they are questionable from what I've read on the comments. So I'm going to have to do the best we can. Right folks, we just got to the top of the climb out of the fire station. It's about 1.5 mile climb, and you can see the Mojave Desert out in front of us, and that's what we have to walk across in a few days' time. All that big flat expanse of land. It's about 17 miles of just flat concrete following the LA Aqueduct, the pipeline that supplies Los Angeles with its water. But it's so nice to have some sunshine back and some warmth. But that is quite the view. So it's funny how the trail works sometimes, and conditions and whatnot. So if you've been watching the videos, you'll remember that we had a really wet day a while ago and decided to bail into town. And kind of that afternoon it looked threatening, but it actually turned out to be quite a nice day. And I think at the time we probably made the right decision, but you always feel guilty feel like a bit of a failure for doing that. And then yesterday was completely the opposite, because we pushed through like 22 miles of hiking in that really bad weather. And then I've got to admit, when I was sat in the smokehouse, I was looking for accommodation nearby, because I didn't fancy sleeping with wet gear in a wet tent. But we didn't do it. I guess partly because there was no accommodation nearby. But we ended up getting a ride back up to the fire station and sleeping in the tent at the back, in the tents at the back of there. But a lot of people had only done really, really short days yesterday. Like, some people had only hiked 4 miles, and I'm not having a go at them. I'm just saying it's quite funny that the trail causes these bottlenecks sometimes, of like weather conditions, and there was a lot of people getting to Green Valley yesterday in the morning and basically just staying there the entire day, trying to dry gear out and things like that. And the fire station this morning literally looked like a refugee shelter, a refugee camp with all the tents up and like sleeping bags hung out to dry and things like that. I have noticed as well, actually, just on that subject, my tent's obviously got the condensation liner inside it, which I think is an awesome feature you can get for the tarp tents, quite a few of them. Just like a little clip-in piece of fabric that stops most, I would say 95% of the condensation dripping down onto you and your gear. But I've noticed there's a lot of Z-Packs duplexes on the trail, and they're all having problems with condensation, even sleeping with the door open. I guess that's the trade-off for a lighter tent, a single skin Dyneema tent. But I've been pretty happy with mine so far. It'd be nice to have it lighter, but you can't have everything in one package, basically. Or I've found you can't anyway. It's definitely nice. I'm hoping that my clothes are going to be dry by lunchtime, because there's a bit of breeze kicking up, and hopefully the stuff on the back of the backpack, the socks and the shorts and the towel and whatever else I've got hung on the back of there. Well, one, hopefully I've not lost it off, and two, yeah, I hope it dries out. Wet socks and wet shoes, not nice first thing on the morning. Got about 4 miles to the next water source, and then after that I think it's a little dicey after that. A few questionable water sources, one where apparently you kind of got to crawl into a tank or something like that to scoop it out, or attach your bladder to the end of your trekking pole. Sounds like a game show or something like that. It's been a nice walk this morning so far. We had that climb out of the fire station up onto the ridge, and ever since then we've just kind of like been traversing ridges, slowly descending, I believe. But yeah, as a result of yesterday's weather and people doing shorter days, we kind of caught up quite a few people that we've not seen for a while. That was partly due to us doing quite a big day yesterday as well, in regards to what we've been doing recently. So I've been worried about going slow and not putting enough miles in. And it is still a worry, I'll be completely honest with you. This is, I think I've said before, this is probably my last chance to do this trail. I doubt I'll be able to afford to do it again. And if I'm being 100% honest, I can't really afford to do it this time either. But I've still got my health, so I decided to hell with it. But yeah, there's like a predictor somewhere online where it tells you like the optimum time to enter the Sierra section on the PCT, which is the section you can have the most trouble with snow and things like that. And at the moment, I believe it's kind of saying somewhere around the 14th of June is the optimum time to get there. Now, what date are we on today? I think it's the 18th of May today. So if I carry on going, or if we carry on going as we are, sorry, the wind's taking my breath away. If we carry on going as we are, we're going to hit it maybe a week early, I would guess. Maybe somewhere around there. It's not an exact science, obviously. It's just a guide. But it's certainly going to be better than last time I entered, which was probably, I can't remember for certain, but I want to say early to mid-May. Somewhere around there. It might have been early June, I can't remember, but it was definitely way too early to go in last time. This time I think I've got a better chance. Well, this is a nice little surprise. I wasn't expecting this. This isn't the water source I was going for. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Enough of that. This is about mile 485, I think, 0.6 or 7. Just about to join Lake Hughes Road. And this nice little crisp, cool stream or river flowing through the sandy. This would be an awesome place to camp. Unfortunately, it's way too early for that today. I could do with drying my tent out, but I think I'm going to do that at lunchtime. And I also need to apply some sunscreen, definitely, because I've not put any on yet today and it's already getting pretty warm. So when we were making our plan to start with for this next section, we were originally going to be, I think, getting off at this section, this road here, and going into Lake Hughes, because there's a little store there. That was our plan. We were going to carry less food and get off to resupply. We since changed the plan, as is often the case. Now I think we're kind of going right through to Hikertown, and then you can get a ride from there to a grocery store, and that should hopefully just kind of top us up for the last couple of days into Tehachapi, where we can do a proper big resupply. It's a decent sized town, is Tehachapi. It's got a couple of big grocery stores, quite a few chain hotels and motels. So it's going to be, I think it's a nice rest area. Tehachapi is, a lot of people take 1 or 2 zeros there just because it's such a nice place, and because this section has been kind of long, hot, not many services. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Tehachapi, definitely. And I think after that, my next stop's going to be Ridgecrest, which I've not been to before. When you get off for Ridgecrest, there's a few choices you can take. You can go to Ridgecrest, you can go to Inyokurn, and I think there's even another one you can go to as well. Last time I went to Inyokurn, and I didn't regret it, but it was a very small place. It's like one motel, a dollar store, Mexican restaurant, a few bits like that. Ridgecrest is a lot bigger. It's basically like a very big town or city, a lot more services. So that's where I'm gonna sort a lot of stuff out that I need for the Sierras. And what do we have here? So this is the Lake Hughes Road. There's a nice little bench there that's in the shade. That's beautiful. And this looks like it might be a hiker box or trail angel. No trash, first aid. So yeah, you got a first aid box there, which is real nice. It does say no trash, but someone's left a pair of shoes there on the ground without laces, so that's not really much use to anybody, is it? And then there's a water cache there as well, in case people need it. So it's very nice of people to do that when that water behind me isn't flowing. Obviously, quite a dry section. A few day hikers packed up. It is a Sunday, so there's more people out enjoying the outdoors. Nice little climb now. I've had my downhill stretch. Now it looks like I'm going back up again. So I just passed the water source. I was supposed to meet centipede there, but it's basically on the side of a hill. And I'm not going to sit there for a while blocking the path. So there's a dirt road 0.2 miles up here. I'm just going to walk up to that, set the tent up to dry and have some food and wait for her there. Just look at this view down into the Mojave. That is insane. I'll maybe just zoom in with the camera a little bit. So that's as far as it'll zoom in, but it might give you a slightly better view. The wind farms that we'll be walking through, and just the massive expanse of flat nothingness, basically. It's insane. Well, perfect spot for lunch. Big nice empty space to put the tent in to dry out. The easiest way to dry it out is to actually put it up. So that's what I've done. Shouldn't be long in this weather until that's bone dry. The pack's probably drying out as well. That got drenched yesterday. And then I've got myself a nice, there's a dirt road there, just where you can see. And then I've got myself a nice view of the desert down here of the Mojave to look at while I have my lunch. Very, very nice spot. Oh, well. That was the longest lunch break I've had probably on trail so far, I think. I think I was stopped there about an hour and a half. The tent dried within like 5 or 10 minutes, but it was just such a nice spot. Because I had all the stuff out my bag drying, I thought, oh, I'll make myself a coffee as well while I'm here. So I was laid in the tent with a cup of coffee, looking down into the Mojave. I tell you what, it was just so nice as well. Right, confession time. I'm cheating. The trail heads down there, and I don't know where it goes after that. But basically, where most people are heading for a campground, like I think it's run by the forestry. I'm going to say Forestry Commission. I can't remember the name of the Forest Service. Sorry, the Forest Service. I think it's managed by them. It's called the Sawmill Campground, and it's about 10 or 12 miles away. And that's basically the next source of decent water. Now, there's two ways to get to it. You can go on the trail on the PCT, or you can take this dirt road alternate. And there's a very good reason why I'm taking this dirt road alternate, because I would like to do the PCT, but apparently in several places it's overgrown with poodle dog bush, which causes nasty skin irritation and rashes, and I don't want that. And yes, I could put my waterproof trousers on and long sleeves and walk through it, but I'm going to be completely honest, I just don't want to do that. So I'm doing the alternate, I'm doing the road walk. The good thing for me is I have actually walked that stretch before in 2019, so technically I've done it. But yeah, that was, I think if I'd have been there like at 4 p.m. today, that spot where I was, I probably would have stayed there, because I would have loved to have seen the sunrise from that location. I think it would have been pretty epic, straight over the Mojave. So, a little progress update as well. I was looking at the app while I was laid in the tent. We're about 29 miles from a place called Hikertown, which is the, I guess you could call it the unofficial start of the LA Aqueduct, which is the flat stretch where you cross the Mojave Desert. So if we're 29 miles away from that, if we get this 10 done today, that's obviously going to leave us 20. Amelia's been planning it all. She's got a notebook that she plans everything out in. Excuse me, the wind's catching me again. She's got a notebook she plans everything in. I'm much more of a suck it and see type person. But I do know that we'd kind of agreed that we were going to night hike the aqueduct, because this next week it's going to be 31 degrees C, and hiking across the aqueduct in that is basically just asking for trouble. It's just super exposed. There's very, very little shade. You might find a bit of shade under a Joshua tree or one of the, every so often there's some concrete inspection boxes so technicians can look into the aqueduct. But generally speaking, you're in basically direct sunlight for the entire crossing of about 17 or 18 miles. So I think the idea was to get to Hikertown, kind of chill out there until kind of 5 or 6 p.m. and then set off across the aqueduct and hike through the night, which I've never done before. Last time I did it, I set off at, I'm trying to remember, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and didn't have too much of a problem. But as I've mentioned before, it was a lot earlier in the year. So it'll be interesting if we do end up night hiking it, which I think we probably will. It'll be an interesting experience, definitely. Anyway, this dirt road does apparently lead directly into the sawmill camp that we're hoping to get to this evening. Amelia's just a little bit ahead of me. I had to pack my tent up where I was and stuff, so I knew as soon as I saw that river at the bottom of that climb, I knew that she'd stop there. And she did. She stopped down by the river, dried a tent out down there. She's not eaten lunch yet because she's feeling a bit iffy, I think. I'm going to guess it's the heat. It doesn't seem to be agreeing with her, like the cold didn't agree with me yesterday. So, try and catch her up and see how she's doing. I can just see the glint of her sun umbrella in the distance. So what seemed like a really good idea at the time has just turned into an absolute farce. Mainly because this road just doesn't stop going up. It's just been corkscrewing up for the last like 5 miles. It's ridiculous. The only good thing are the views. The bad thing is that I'm getting incredibly frustrated because we're trying to book accommodation for Tehachapi, of which there is a severe shortage when we're expecting to get there. And literally, you've got internet 1 second, and the next second it's gone. And then it's back again. And then it's gone again. And when things don't work like they're supposed to, like that, I get really, really frustrated. Which is exactly what's happening at the moment, unfortunately. And if this road keeps on going up at this junction, I'm going to have an absolute fit. Do you know what? If there was water here, I'd just be saying, right, I'm camping here tonight. Because to be honest with you, I've about had enough for today. And this view is also very nice. But unfortunately, there isn't water here. And I've only got a litre on me. But yeah, that would be pretty cool to go to sleep by. Unfortunately, we can't do that. We have to keep walking on the never-ending upwards road. Right, so I just had a little rant at the camera. I'm undecided whether I'll be putting it in the actual final video or not. But the rant's over and we're going downhill again now, so everything's fine. I've even just managed to complete the booking for the hotel in Tehachapi, which was one of the things that was annoying me. So I'm slightly less angry now. But yeah, we've also got this really, really nice view. And it's coming to that time of the evening where it's really nice hiking weather. It's about 5 p.m. Just look at that down there. That's beautiful. So yeah, we now have to basically, there's a huge lack, even though there's a lot of hotels and motels in Tehachapi. For when we're getting into town, there is a severe lack of accommodation. And there was basically like 3 or 4 hotels available that were kind of 2 to 3 miles outside town. And only 1 or 2 that were in the town centre or close to the town centre. So we just managed to book one of the ones that was close to the town centre. Centipede's just booked another appointment with Blaze. She's currently there in the mobile physio van. So things are slowly coming together. We just have to make sure now that we get there on Thursday, which will be interesting to say the least, crossing the aqueduct and then whatever lies after that, the wind farms, and from memory, rattlesnake country. So that's something to look forward to. I haven't seen one of those for a while. I'm sure it'll be happening in the next few days. Evening, folks. It is 7:15 p.m. We are at mile 498.1, which is roughly where the Sawmill campground is that we were aiming for. We've just stopped and had some food after having a fight getting into the water tank, which Amelia did get some footage of, and I'll try and get it off her because it was quite a comedy effort. It's the strangest water tank I've ever come across. But we got the water out in the end. We've just been sat there. It's got up quite windy. We've just been sat there out of the wind having a bit of food. Nice light in the sky. It's, as you all know, look at the long shadow. It's my favourite time of the day to hike now. So we're going to do a few more miles. We're going to try and pass the 500 mile marker this evening if we can. Strangely enough, it's actually not at 500 miles on the app. It's at mile 501 point something. The 500 mile marker is not at mile 500. Don't know, I just looked on the app and it said mile 501 point something. So yeah, that's a surprise to everyone. And I think the one that was there when I passed through in 2019 is no longer there. I think either someone's stolen it or it's been destroyed or damaged or whatever. But yeah, the classic one isn't there anymore, unfortunately. Anyway, we're going to carry on along this forest road for a little bit, and then we're going to join back up with the PCT in about half a mile, I do believe. And then there's another water source in about 4 or 5 miles' time. Hopefully aiming to camp somewhere around there. Would you look at that? I've got a pretty flower right in my tent doorway. So there is my cup of herbal tea that's probably going cold now. We have made it just past the 500 mile marker, and then decided to call it quits for the night because it was getting dark and chilly and there weren't a great deal of camp spots available. We've actually ended up camping on the side of a road. You won't be able to make it out, but it's just a dirt road in the forestry, and we're camped on like a I guess you could call it like a pull-in or a pass-in place or something like that. There's one at the other side of the road as well. This one was more sheltered than the other one. But yeah, we've done, don't even know what we've done, somewhere between 20 and 25 miles today. I couldn't tell you the exact number. But tomorrow we have got a serious task on our hands. We've got to get to Hikertown, which is going to be probably about 18 miles at a guess. And then after that, we've got to rest and hopefully night hike across the LA Aqueduct. That's our plan. I'm not sure how well it's going to go. I'll be totally honest with you. But I have high hopes. Kind of looking forward to getting down there, and weirdly looking forward to a bit of night hiking as well, especially along the aqueduct. It could be quite interesting. I'll have to remember to charge my head torch up before I go. Probably a good idea. Anyway, we need to be up dead early tomorrow, so we've set our alarms for 5 o'clock, which is dead early for us. That should hopefully give us a chance of putting the miles in that we want. So I guess we shall see you tomorrow for the next thrilling instalment.